Hello everyone on the internet, and thanks for tuning in.
And welcome to another episode with me, Maswada Bushido, and we might take a boat on the other side of the Flayvaman!
Power Rangers, combine! That was from Dino Charge.
I was so close to pressing escape, shutdown, delete, and
You're such a hater, man. Come on, it's Christmas, and this is our Christmas special as well.
you can lead. Because you just distraught me. I thought at least that was
Really?
Zordon. I thought that was Zordon. Honestly, I was hoping that was Zordon, but then I'm like, he never said that.
That's it. It's actually it's Gosei's voice from Megaforce, Super Megaforce, and then they still use that voice in Dino Charge.
Just come on.
Right, I will start by talking about the fact that, again, depending on when this goes out just after Christmas, I hope everyone had a good Christmas.
But just before that, for those that aren't aware, yes, we are doing our Toku Talk, which, for those that aren't aware...
Because it's, just gone Christmas and everyone's probably rushing around. I don't know if they have Boxing Day outside the UK, but, I don't think America does it, and I'm pretty sure Australia's probably still having kangaroo leftovers or something. But yeah, what did you say?
For those that aren't aware, that yes, this is our Toku Talk, and for those that don't know what we talk about, we literally talk about tokusatsu, sentais, riders, anything of that category and all that kind of thing, from past, present, and future to date-ish kind of thing.
And this is our Christmas special because we're well special.
Yeah. And that's my, yes, Toku Bro unfortunately keeps reminding me that this is our Christmas special. We will be throwing in some post-Christmas special, sorry. That we will be throwing in a little add-on right at the end of this episode, or near to the end of the episode as well. So please stay tuned in for that. Otherwise, back to our usual recording, to which he will now blabber on.
Well, this won't take too long because
yes!
it was the Dino Charge Finale. One More Energem, which was the episode I missed last time. So, One More Energem was actually quite a thrilling episode, if I do say so myself. Not your conventional finale for a PR season. So, the fact that they continue on to Dino Supercharge, I think in February sometime. But yeah, we are going to be a month without our favourite Dino Charge Rangers. But, One More Energem, it was a good send-off for... I don't know what that was. It's you watch the record of this and see what that looked like. Anyway, so One More Energem, it was actually a pretty good finale. They start off with the Red Ranger having his powers nicked, which because Sledge comes down to Earth, he freezes everyone over and stuff, and he just because he's really close, getting all the Energems. But he just ends up getting the red because he already had the purple from a previous ep, and then he manages to get the red. And it's he should have been able to disintegrate the world or whatever the hell. I mean, I'm not even sure whether he wants to rule the world or destroy the world. It's not quite clear to me. Anyway, but he does want power. He is power crazy. And, it's just basically this mad dash to Sledge's ship to get the Dino Gems back. And, I think everyone predicted that Kendall was going to be the Purple Ranger. It's pretty obvious, really. It was obvious from episode 1, really. But, I was arguing with someone that I just felt that Kendall was so bitchy in the whole season. And, in this final ep, you kind of see her, being all gooey-eyed over the Purple Dino Gem.
The person you're arguing with, was it by chance Duke 122, our favourite?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, there's a first.
Anyway, so yeah, there's this clever plot that, they go into a spaceship, and then there's this gooey romantic scene between the Red Ranger and Pink Ranger when isn't there. And then, there was a typical monster, they beat that. And then sort of right at the end, they basically send Sledge's ship into chaos, it crashes, they think they've defeated him, and they're all super celebratory and going off in their separate. So, you know, this actually ends as if it's ended. You know, yeah, they all go off in their different directions, and, you know, Pink Ranger cops off with Red Ranger, blah, blah, blah. But then you see the very last scene that Sledge is still alive, so we know what to expect from Dino Supercharge.
Here's a question. Did they bring, what would be the equivalent? I can't remember, but the butterfly.
It's a good job you mentioned that, because I was going to completely forget. They didn't bring the butterfly. They brought. If we're going to do the whole Kyoryuger thing.
No. Just before you say, explain to the viewers what I mean by butterfly.
Right. Well, what he means is the butterfly Deboth was right at the end of Kyoryuger, which is what Dino Charge takes its stock footage from. But you know. I'll tell you, to answer your question in a word, no. But that villain I already mentioned, the monster they sent down, was actually the original Deboth. Because if you're going to do the Kyoryuger comparison, it's mid-season, before, you know that guy Chaos with the sort of Statue of Liberty head? You see him, like, he gets Deboth in his hand afterwards, but before he got Deboth in his hand, Deboth was like a sort of cactus monster. Yes, he was.
No, it was more like what's it? The
gator. I mean, yeah, right, whatever you want to call it. So that version of Deboth is the final monster of the week. But this is kind of the thing, and I don't know how you'll feel about this, but you know, in Dino Charge, Deboth is nothing. He was just a monster of the week. He appeared down. He came down. He started like knocking shit over, and then they beat him in a version of the Plesiosaur that I think had the black, green, and one more other attachment, if I'm not mistaken. Or you know, it was basically Plesiosaur, the purple one, the purple Zord with a combination of the other mecha.
Because in the
we are talking about Power Rangers here. So,
yeah, I kind of figured, but in a comparison to Kyoryuger though, they did do when Deboth arrived, they did do
in Kyoryuger they made a big deal about it. Oh, Deboth is on the ground. Whereas in Dino Charge, he was just another monster of the week.
My point is this though, when Deboth arrived and he was in his, as you call it, cactus, in my case, green giant-sized fat alligator, whatever you want to call it, that was the awakening of Bakuret's, no, basically Rocket Kyoryuger, basically.
One of the other emotions. I think that's going on to Supercharge, because and again, this is a massive spoiler, right at the end of Dino Charge, you see these eyes glowing as well. So that's
whom?
That's it. We don't know. We will find out at the beginning of Dino Supercharge.
Alright.
So yeah, I'm going to say the music was alright. The choreography was better than a lot of other PR series. The locations were alright, I guess, considering they tried to pretend that New Zealand's America. You know, I mean, we all know what the henshin devices look like. We've actually got a reveal. I mean, you know, for people who are following PR news, we do have a reveal of what the Silver Ranger's Dino Morpher looks like as well, and it's literally the same as the regular one, but in blue. I think that was the same in Kyoryuger, but I'm not sure.
Yep.
Anyway,
it is. You're right. It is.
And yeah, you know, I mean, comparing it to Kyoryuger, to be honest, if I'm going to compare it to Kyoryuger, I will say they are on par with each other, which is a very bold statement.
Ooh.
Because, you know, normally I will say Sentai is better than PR, with the exception of Go 100 to RPM. But I will actually say, considering I wasn't that hot on Kyoryuger, but Dino Charge had the pizzazz, it had the enthusiasm. You know, you can see they put a lot of effort in. I will say it's pretty much, maybe slightly less, but, you know, I'll even be bold enough to say it's quite, it's somewhat on par. I mean, it's not like, say, Geki Ranger and Jungle Fury. That's just no comparison there. but I will say like Kyoryuger and Dino Charge are like this. I don't know what Dino Supercharge is going to be like though, but we can only wait and see.
That's ballsy. That is ballsy. One second. Yeah.
Anything else on Dino Charge or PR in general? Because the only movie news is they've delayed the release of the movie to March 2017.
Alright, didn't hear about that, but alright.
Well, yeah, that was kind of bandied about rather. But apart from that, anything else on PR?
No, I don't really have any such of Power Rangers.
Okay.
Saying, actually, kind of like Power Rangers, now that you mention it. Other than J Fusion, whatever, blah 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 blah. So that's aside. What I have been doing, Power Rangers related, and for those that actually follow our Toku Bros channel, I have recently put and asked the question to everyone in that what is everyone's favorite Power Ranger Sentai cover, and so on and so forth. Of the openings and such, and if anything of Power Ranger related, I have been watching a fair bit of, or looking for good covers, contrasts, whatever, and I will mention there is one channel I have seen called The Usual Suspect, where he has about 19 videos taking the actual openings of, say, Time Force, Power Rangers, Zeo, whatever, mashing it up with or using that audio, sorry, but then using, like, let's say, Avengers Age of Ultron team for a it actually works, though. And the way that the text is formed as well, it's almost like as though if it was from that actual era of Power Rangers as well. So he copied the text pretty much, style, font. The music is that of, say, Zeo, Turbo, whatever. It works. He's done one for Time Force, which he's collabed it with Back to the Future. He's done one for Zeo, which he collabed it with Avengers Age of Ultron. He's done one for, I've got to remember now, SPD, which he collabed it with Men in Black, which...
Yeah, I can see that.
Which I thought was interesting. It wasn't the best, but it was actually interesting. He did now I've got to remember now. He's done a few good ones, I'm not going to deny that, and it is something to consider. And if my brother over there does remind me, I will throw a link down there for The Usual Suspect on that one.
Well, to answer your question in a word, my favourite cover is me.
On a different note, I will also add an actual cover, that being Jonathan Young's version, which is a power metal.
You already put that on the page.
Yeah, I don't care. I love that one. That's my favourite, so go figure.
Well, anyway, my favourite cover is me doing Kakuranger, so anyone who's interested can look up Piano Menace Stars Kakuranger, and that's me doing Kakuranger.
Are you going to unfortunately throw an unfortunate link at the below?
No, I'll let people look for it if they can be bothered, because I did that several years ago.
Moving on.
So, moving on. Alright, so here's a general tokusatsu question for you, sir.
Uh-oh.
How do you feel about the motives behind, well, not necessarily the motives, but the actions villains take in order to achieve what they want? Because,
Hang on. Actually... Give me an example. What do you mean?
Not necessarily an example, but what I mean is, how do you feel when sometimes they go about committing actions for their cause by causing mischief rather than actually creating like what I call doom, actual peril? Because sometimes, how do you feel about the whole mischief versus peril thing? Is what I'm trying to ask you. In terms of what villains try to do, not necessarily mainly Sentai, but even in yeah, like Kamen Rider, I guess it's a bit more vicious, but then where I'm watching something like Sazer-X at the moment, which I'll be talking about in a bit, you know, again, it's almost like, you know, all they're doing, oh, the building's caught fire.
See, okay. I think I know where you're going with your morale here, in that, well, not morale, but the motif and whatever, in that, like, for instance, the current ninja is, I need to gather the tears of fear kind of thing, or, and pretty much.
But then, are they actually causing peril, or are they just causing mischief?
See, that's the thing. With Ninja, they still cause it, even because they emphasize that they need the tears of fear. They're causing fear regardless of how they still obtain it. However, there has been other Sentais which I can't think of the actual series. Wait, hang on a minute. I can't think of the actual series as a whole yet, but if they need to cause chaos, they can cause chaos. They will cause chaos. Now,
well, that's it. There's causing chaos, but then there's just like childish mischief.
No, hang on a minute to that one. What I will say is one series that does do a fantastic job of putting a spin on chaos with mischief, if you will, is Gokaiger. And by that I mean...
no, but that's kind of the thing, though. I actually felt Gokaiger, it was literally world peril. You had the Zangiak army.
No, hang on a minute.
Literally sending stuff down, literally destroying the world.
No, but then you have a Vice Gil changing the order for that monster of the week to do something different, and then it turns into a slight comical aspect, and then...
Well, that's because that's how Prince Gil was, and again, it would depend on which series they were paying homage to. Homage. But, you know, again, Gokaiger's a very, you know, I mean, again, Gokaiger's, you know, it's very broad, you know, it's covering a broad base. But even with Gokaiger, I will say it was more about peril.
Agreed.
Right?
No, agreed.
But you look at something like Hurricaneger. Now, you know, it's literally like, oh, we're going to take on the Ninja Academy, blah, blah, blah. We need, you know, we're the space ninjas. You know, we want to take on the Earth. I felt all their monsters of the week did, and I'll say exactly the same thing for Abaranger, by the way. Both Abaranger and Hurricaneger were literally, oh, we're going to do this by sending this monster down. And all they were doing was like making pranks, like putting black ink on people's faces. It's like, how's this?
See, I'm gonna spin that round against you, in that I would say Abaranger actually got away with that because they pretty much mushed 3 different things into one sometimes.
What do you mean?
Well, one of the commanders was able to create a monster using 3 different things: an animal, an object, and something else. And
well, that was quite cool. Yeah, I remember that. I do actually remember that process. I thought that was a cool process, but it's all right. What are they going to do, and what they do going to contribute to what you want to achieve? Again, especially Hurricaneger, it's like, look, I think there was one episode where they were just like nicking shoes or something. Because there was a very recent episode of it was the Christmas special actually, where you got, you know, we'll be talking about that after the new year. But, you know, there was the Ninja episode where, like, their clothes were disappearing. It's like, this is just a prank. You know, this isn't you know, I mean, you know, they spin it. You know, they spin the episode to make it, oh, they're losing something or other, and that makes them fear or something. They'll spin it around. They'll justify it, but ultimately, all it is it's a childish prank played by some evil Santa.
What about if we're going a bit back? Would you say Magiranger is more about chaos then?
Yes, because, you know, you literally had like massive pyramid, boom, appear. You had like, you know, the whole Armageddon thing. You know, you see the world derelict. That was definitely peril.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, even Zyuohger, as much as I love Zyuohger, you know, I think Zyuohger was actually a genuine mix. Like, you know, sometimes it'd be like Bandora doing her evil spells and calling up the devil and stuff, which is dark stuff. But then sometimes it's, oh, let's send an elf down to Earth and put people in a jar. You know. I mean, because even where I'm going to be rounding up Kakuranger as well, you know, their filler episodes were literally Monsters of the Week doing stupid shit. But when it came to their arcs, that was genuine peril.
Here's one for you, though. Do you feel that... Okay, I'm going to use your question, but slightly tweak it, in that if you were to do a Sentai episode... Oh, sorry, series, would you concentrate your Monsters of the Week and the motif theme, whatever, on more chaos or joke?
Well, you know, it'd be, out of those two, it'd be chaos. I would make my villains actually, you know, they would know what they want, and then rather than just playing pranks on people, they would actually cause genuine devastation.
Agreed.
So again, you know, you look at an episode of Hurricaneer, oh no, I've got ink all over my face. That's not real devastation.
See, here's the thing. If it was predominant chaos, I would allow maybe 1-2 episodes as of pranks as a nice, how can I say, as a bit of a relief, if you like, a little bit of comic relief, a bit of a breather, if you will. Like, yeah,
that's it. I mean, maybe as a joke episode.
Like, for instance, and Gokaiger's got a fantastic example when you had that guy with the weird clown jester. He was pretty much the comic relief.
That's kind of the thing. Even Tokujar, which had characters like that as well, you literally saw the darkness each city in Tokujar was under, like the dark influence it was under, you know, with the shadow line, whatever. And you know, and even though there was like a theme to it, like, oh, one people would like dislike this or dislike that, or act like this or act like that, you could kind of see it was genuinely sort of controlling the people. That felt, that felt like peril. Whereas, again, you know, even Kakuranger, it's like, oh, you've turned people into rocks. You know, what can you say?
But you wanted to continue. You mentioned this question was a follow-up to...
No.
I meant as in leading on to.
No, I mean, I'll talk about Kakuranger later.
I meant Sazer.
I will now move on.
That's what I meant.
I will talk about Sazer-X, which, I'll be honest, I am so underwhelmed by this.
Hang on, for those that don't know, please explain what Sazer-X is.
Right, Sazer-X, it's part of the Choseishin series, which is done by TV Tokyo.
Which involves...
Which, I mean, it's a trilogy. You've got Grand Sazers, which is Series 1. You've got Justy Risers, which I finished 2 weeks ago. That's Series 2. And this is Series 3, Sazer-X. I mean, they are all set completely different. They've all got, even though they are part of the same series,
so
they do have
same universe.
It is the same universe, but they all have their own independent storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Now, kicking off with Sazer-X now, this differs from the previous two in that the previous two series had stuff that happened in the past, like X number of hundreds of years ago, and then it comes back to present day. That was Series 1 and 2. They both had their different sets of villains that then sort of re-emerged present day. This series has actually done that, has tipped that on its head. So what this series has done is there's villains in the future that, you know, they've taken over the Earth and everything, and then there's like a rebel, and starters, even though I am watching Star Wars at the moment, and I watched Star Wars years ago and I'm going through them again, but Sazer-X massively rips off Star Wars, it massively rips off sci-fi in general, But the one thing, and I warned you about this in advance, by the way, is they have space pirates in this series, which gave me a very strong vibe of Gokaiger. Bearing in mind, this series was done a good 6+ years before Gokaiger. So there's space pirates in this. It's all set in the future, and where the Earth's already been taken over and stuff. But there's been a rebel force, if you will, fighting the people, and then it's like, oh, we should go back to the year 2005 when this started, and what is it? Because they have these, like, I can't remember the names. They're called cosmic balls or something. They've got to collect these 12 balls of power, and they come back to the year 2005 to do that. And I am absolutely underwhelmed by this series because, you see these people come from the future, they come back to the past, and apparently the leader had done that in the year 1960 for some odd reason, and spoke to some dude who's now had a grandchild in 2005, and basically, so these 3 spaceships come from the year 2500 or something. They come from the year 2005. They find this guy's grandson. They give him a power, so he's able to become, I think it's Leo Sazer or something. And then two of the guys from the future. One of them's Eagle Sazer and Beetle Sazer. So this is actually a 3-guy team. And they have one woman who's like the support for Leo Sazer. She just runs around with a gun. And she really irritates me, by the way. Fan service, but really irritates me.
Almost as bad as that female from your recent Garros.
Not as bad as her. Not as bad as her. But she does still generally irritate me. And actually, the whole cast, I'm not going to lie, the whole cast irritates me. So it's not even just her. And, they're running around, and, like, the villains are also in the year 2005 as well. And they're all running around for these cosmic balls of power. And I can't even remember their name. I mean, it's been a few days since I watched an episode of Sazer-X, but I'm still working through the series. Hopefully I'll be done by New Year. So they're running around trying for these balls of power. And, and they're chatting to, like, the granddad and the thing, and I can't even remember the names of the characters right now. This is just such an underwhelming series. The music's poor. At least Grand Says and Justifier had good, decent choreography. Choreography's a bit, it's alright, but it's meh. Music's less than meh. I mean, the OP is just rubbish. Grand Says and Justifier had, like, a sort of really strange OP, but they were catchy after a while. This is just like, I'm so underwhelmed by this. And again, like, these 12 balls of power have, like, an animal theme to each of them. One of them's a scorpion, one of them's a shark, which is what the captain in the year 2500 uses.
So would you say it's sort of like a Kakuranger meets either Dragon Ball / Gokaiger style?
I can see the Dragon Ball reference you just made. It kind of is, but
Kakuranger.
Yeah, but no, Kakuranger so much. But yeah, I'm not that. I'm a little underwhelmed by Kakuranger, to be fair.
I'm using the power animal reference.
Yeah. I mean, again, you've got your 3 main animals: your lion, your eagle, your beetle. And then the rest of them. Yeah, there's a beetle. Yeah, one of them's a beetle.
A beetle as the main 3.
Yeah.
There's a first.
He's the blue one, I think. Oh, and I don't know if you remember, I mentioned this in the last Toku Talk, but in the preview I mentioned that there was a Gaijin. It only happens to be the same guy that plays Kyoryu-Sian in Kyoryuger. So I looked this up, and I've just come to the assumption that if you do see a big fat American long-haired gaijin in any Japanese show, it is most likely Robert Baldwin, who is Kyoryu-Sian. Because in Sazer-X, he plays the assistant to I think it's Beetle Sazer. No, Beetle Sazer has these two robots, Iron and Zwein, which are German names. But the main guy, who's Eagle Sazer, he plays the assistant to Eagle Sazer, and then this girl plays the assistant to Leo Sazer. Anyway, so like the two German robots, they're a bit weird. Well, they're not German, but they have German names.
Hang on, what? Eins and Zwei? One and two.
No, it's pronounced Zwein in this series. I don't know what the proper German pronunciation is.
Zwei.
Well, they pronounce it Zwein. Anyway. And I don't speak German, so I'm not even going to claim whatever. Yeah, so, you know, they're kind of funny. I mean, again, the comedy is not... I mean, the comedy in Sazer-X is really subtle, because, like, Grand Sazer, it was kind of... It either was there or it wasn't. In Justy Risers, it was really in your face. But in Sazer-X, it's so subtle and abstract. And it's like, you either find it amusing, or you're just like, that's not funny. So yeah, at best, I'll be like, oh, that's quite amusing. It's quite subtle, but...
How's the outfits?
Even worse than Justy Risers. I don't like them.
Wow, there's something.
I mean, because I think they've kind of got worse, you know, because, like, Grand Sazer had really good outfits, had really good suits. Justy Risers was bulky, and, you know, and this is it, like, I didn't like them, and they were kind of rubbery. You could kind of see that it was just rubber padding, really. But this one, no, I don't like it at all. It just looks ugly.
Fair enough. Well, what...
I think I'm actually done talking about Sazer.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. So while my brother is recovering from that tormentation that's being of Sazer-X, I shall talk about something that I have started watching. Yeah, let me finish. Anyway, that my brother has been heckling me to watch, and that being Mask Rider FAIZ. Thanks. Anyway, so I won't go into detail as such, because we will save that for a review on its own in some point in the future. But what I will say is, for a series of its time, it is pretty enjoyable. I mean, each episode as well, I love the opening. I do watch it literally from opening, scratch straight on. I love the opening. And as a generic, I love the concept. I love the whole, what do you call it? Just the dark feel. It's so grim. It is so good. It is so. I am currently into episode 6 or 7. I can't remember which one anyway. But and that is of this recording time. And I will continue it. I did not imagine I'd actually enjoy it. Yeah, I know. And I honestly, and even the what do you call it? The maid / the assistant to the president of Smart Brain, the fan service girl. She cracks the shit out, and she makes me laugh. Yeah, but in a good way, she makes me laugh. Seriously, I feel like, and we'll mention this when we do the review, but just to mention this now, just before I forget, so I don't forget. Do you feel that assistant is like a benchmark, if you will, to Wagon? Or even Deno's assistant.
Naomi.
Yeah, no. If you see what I mean, like
I see what you mean, but no, you know, I just saw her. I don't know. I just saw her as fan service, really.
No, I feel like it's like.
But then again, if you're going to be talking along those lines, well, actually, it's me talking along those lines. I mean, you know, there was the assistant from Smart Brain, and apparently she was also in another Toku series, but I forgot. In another Kamen Rider series, I forgot. Yeah, I think she was in Blade. I think. I forgot.
I couldn't tell.
No. The other way around. She was in RyuKiva, as one of the assistants in the newspaper room.
Alright. Did not know that.
Yeah, she was the internet geek. She was the computer geek in RyuKiva. And now she's playing Smart Ray. But if you're going to be talking about, fires like that, because I mentioned her a few weeks ago in that she did a film called Blood Girls or Suicide Girls or something. The actual friend of Fires, the female character, the heroine, if you will. Yeah. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm not going to say nothing. Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, all I will say is I am enjoying Faiz as it is. I will mention that for those that want to see Faiz, do not watch Decade, because Decade has a... Do not watch Kamen Rider Decade, because there is one hell of a... what do you call it? Plot spoiler, if you will. That...
To be fair, don't even watch the Kamen Rider Tyson films, because because the third one, Kamen Rider GP, you literally got loads of fire spoilers in it anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I haven't seen it anyways, but my point is
and Yongo has spoilers in it as well. Because I don't know, because last year they did, what was it, Heisei versus Showa, and that had fires in it. And then they did Kamen Rider GP and Yongo, and that had fires in it as well, and they just expanded on his storyline. It's like, oh, alright then.
My point is for those that want to watch Faiz, watch it before watching any of the other Future Riders Plus movies. Right, now on to Kakuranger Ninja.
Right,
How was that?
Watched Kakuranger, that was awesome.
Oh, shucks. You see that? Yeah. The devotion for you.
Yes. I finished watching Kakuranger about a week ago. Now, it's really weird because last time I talked about Kakuranger, I was near the end anyway. So what can I say about Kakuranger of the literally last few episodes I watched? Well, again, they'd introduced Ninja Man, and then, he kind of becomes a regular member and he just pops up whenever he feels like. I actually felt that the final filler episodes were really dull and boring, actually. It's really sad because...
Is it the same voice as the Ninja Man from Go Kaiju?
I don't know, I can't remember, because I was thinking about it. I was actually thinking about that, but I can't remember how he sounded in Go Kaiju, to be fair. But either way, coming back to what I watched recently, it's like, because it starts off, like, the filler episodes start off, like, really crazy and zany and just high energy. And they kind of try it in the final filler eps, and it just doesn't come off the same. It kind of comes off a bit lackluster, like, I'm like, oh, this is just tragic. And then they do get into, like, the final story arc, which is basically, it's not even, right, so basically it starts off with, it's really weird, I mean, it's still batshit crazy, it's just not as high energy as it was in the first half. It starts off with His Infernal Majesty vomiting an egg. He vomits this egg, and he gets, like, this monster comes out of this egg, and that monster was what they used in the first half of the Power Ranger movie. So if you Power Ranger movie when it spits and all these monsters come out, this is before the Tengu Warriors as well. Those monsters that come out, the way even though they're purple in that film, in Kakuranger, it's just one, and he's blue and yellow.
Oh, so Ivan Ooze is a nod to Kakuranger.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Straight away, I'm like, yes, I recognise that guy. And, he caused, and he did cause genuine havoc. He was like, he was mashing up the mecha and everything. And, like, everyone was near dead and shit. And then what happened? How did they come over it? Oh no, they came up with something or other and they beat him. Man, I watched it over a week ago. I can't remember anything. And then, like, he gets all really sad and shit about it. So he starts, like, running around on planet Earth being like, oh, you're never going to defeat me, Kakuranger. And then it's like, they're about to defeat him, but then the mecha, they start acting like the mecha from Zyuohger. They start talking to the Rangers, because they're like these big gods or something. And it's like, oh, don't defeat him. It's like, why can't we defeat him? It's like, oh, because he is the embodiment of human hatred. It's like, right, okay. And if you defeat him, his hatred's going to spread all over the world. That's why your ancestors didn't defeat him originally. It's like, right, so what can we do? So, oh, well, we'll just have to seal him again like our ancestors did. So that's pretty much what they do. And then you kind of get your final scene. So he's like, I will escape this again one day. It's just like, oh, really?
So it's just like Reader Repulsor gone all over again?
No, they've done this several times over. I mean, before Kakuranger, yeah, it's the Bandora thing. Post Kakuranger, they did it again in Geki Ranger. Yeah, so I'm just generally underwhelmed. I was just generally underwhelmed. I mean, yeah, when it came to the Rangers ending, I actually thought someone had spoiled it for me, but actually it ended different to what I was told. So I was like, oh, alright then. And yeah, you know, you've got Tsuruhime's father, you know, he kind of, you know, there's like this bit where he's still acting under the guise of being a villain, but he's acting as a hero in secret, and then he gets found out, even though Infernal Majesty knew all along. He pretty much nearly kills him. He turns him into some like rock monster thing. He nearly dies, but then Tsuruhime's half step brothers or whatever, foster brothers, whatever, they come in, they sacrifice their lives to save his life, and blah blah blah. Again, I was a little underwhelmed, to be fair. They could have done a better job.
Fair enough. Well, okay. I'm gonna.
Just to round up Kakuranger single minute, I will actually say I found it an enjoyable series. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as like a starter Sentai. You know, I'd have to say, you know, if you're really into Sentai, you'll like it. It's really different. You know, it's very abstract. It's very obtuse. It's bizarre. It's out of this world. It's very, very unique. And, you know, you can follow the story, you know, and even though there's lots and lots and lots of filler, the fillers are actually really enjoyable to watch. Well, at least they are in the first 2/3. And then when it comes to the story arcs, it is very hit and miss.
No, what I will ask is, okay, here's one. Just before we end Kakuranger, just to be fair, one, how do you find the outfits? Just as a general.
They're very, I'll be honest, they're plain and simple, and it's alright. You know, I wouldn't say they're that great, but I wouldn't pan them either. I was, you know, again, because I think, yeah, we were complaining about the Zyuohger outfits, but at the end of the day, Kakuranger's very plain, but it's alright. It kind of does the job, and it's not really a focal point. Because, you know, you look at all the suits in recent years, they've always got to be a focal point. They've always got to be a talking point. I mean, you know, I don't think that was the case in 90s Sentai. You know, I might be wrong, but, you know, because, like, you look at Zyuohger, they were just, like, wowing on its own. You look at Dairanger, they were quite formal in their presentation. But Kakuranger was very plain, simple. It, you know, but it wasn't, you know, it wouldn't have been a focal point. Like, people wouldn't have been like, oh, those are really nice suits, or oh, those are really bad suits. Because there's so much going on in that, you know, even though it's a very linear story compared to how modern day Sentai is, it's a very linear show, is Kakuranger, but yet you do not find yourself being focused on what the suits look like, to be fair, or I didn't.
I honestly, I still remember the suits to this day, and I find them the simplicity of it works for a show like that. Like ninjas, sleek, maneuverable, basically, as opposed to big, stocky, beefy, whatever. so that's why I like it. It's not out there or anything, so that's why I still like it to this day. It's a very childhood memory kind of thing. What did you find of the intro?
I talked about that last time, but it was a very bizarre OP. I mean, it's a nice sound. It sounds nice. It's not like vivid or energetic. It's not my choice of listening. It's very 90s in its sort of sound. It's a nice sounding Sentai, but lyrically, it's talking shit.
Now this one's up to you if you want to tap on the weapon and the morpher, but that's up to you.
I vaguely remember the weapons because I know I liked how the Red Ranger, they all had like an issue sword, but then Red Ranger had like a sort of what he called the ninja slicer or something, which was just a massive shuriken.
Yep.
Which he threw. The yellow one had a claw.
Yep. Bear claw.
No, I can't remember what the other had.
So technically, if I remember correctly, Black would have had the harpoon, or pretty much
I was thinking,
almost like a harpoon grappling thing. Blue had some gun, a wrist gun, if I remember correctly. White, I'm just trying to remember what White had now.
That's it. It's very vague. But I think because out of all of them, the red one used his shuriken ninja slicer the most, and even then, it wasn't that frequent.
Fair enough. But what was also interesting is what the weapons they had. They also were able to use an enlarged form with their Zords, if I remember correctly.
No.
Yes.
I think maybe the no.
Yes.
We'll just agree to disagree on that, shall we?
No, because
I mean,
as a finisher, Red, his mech was able to use the Ninja Star as well, and
there was a version of it, but I don't think it was supposed to be like his one enlarged. But even then,
of that Zord's version, yes, that's what I mean. And
anyway,
and even Yellow had a claw for the Zord as well.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because the animal one had like the monkey and wolf punch thing.
Oh, what?
And then the Duo Fighter and the Mighty Shogun had a sword. The Mighty Shogun had a fire sword.
Yeah.
And then
We'll take it second, yeah.
Well, it wasn't really that vocal.
Anywho.
But, I will say finally, and I'm looking at my notes here, basically, this one, it had the first crossover with, well, actually, that's a massive lie. It had the first Heisei crossover in Super Sentai World, which was just them around and then they had a film as well.
Hang on. Okay, question one. Who did they have a crossover with?
It was everyone from Fireman, Zyuohger, Jetman, Dire Ranger, and themselves.
Alright.
And they had each of their Gatai mecha. They were fighting some random knight dude, and there was like a massive fight scene with all the henchmen for each series appearing. And then they had their own film as well, which was some brother and sister's parents went on a holiday, and some dude shrunk their house and put it in his model thing, and the Kakurangers saved their house.
So is this basically Honey, I Shrunk the House?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my Kakuranger roundup for the second time.
And what did you think of the crossover one with the Heiseis?
It was meh. It was like, they were clearly testing the ground. And it was meh. It was alright. It was cool to see 5 teams fighting. It almost felt Gokaiger-esque. So,
Fair enough.
That was my...
Fair enough.
So, on to something that Mr. Kamen Rider Bushido has been building up to for a while. It's the Q&A. So, can people have shout-outs? I don't mind giving people shout-outs. Did you want to shout out to anyone, boy?
Oh, besides you, let's see. I'm
here. Right.
One shout-out in particular I want to say is to mgo316, and that I think he has over 100,000 subscribers, but what's more impressive is he got during his he did a review for, or a special video for his 100,000 by just doing like a parody video, but on top of that he did a thank you video for his 100,000th subscription, in that he thanked the viewers, in that he said that this could not have been done without you. He said, for everyone, if you are going to go into this, don't be like me. Be the best of who you are. Be the best of you. Be you. And with those words, I think, and with also your support as well, Mr. Flayvaman, it basically drove me. It really, how can I say, it pushed me, if you will, to be...
I'm always pushing you, man.
Yeah,
your backside.
If you let me finish, I was trying to be polite here, you fucked up. Anyway, but no, in short, I want to thank mgo316 in that video alone. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love his channel to bits. I love it. I find it very entertaining and everything. But that video alone was a huge inspiration, and I cannot thank him enough. I also want to do a shout out to Jonathan Young, because I've watched a few of his videos and I find his take on modern and past music with his twist too, because he does, if you have like a Disney music, he would put either a rock, pop, punk, or heavy metal, if you will, twist to it, but he does it so well, and I have to really it's a really good twist, and we need more people like that to have a little spin on it. I also want to thank who else, Peter Hollands, or the Hollands family, so Peter and Evan Hollands, for the musics that they provide as well. I love the a cappella style of music. I know that's not quite Tokusatsu related, but just as a generic YouTube shout out. And I think that is pretty much it, besides Pentatonics and Todrick Hall, really, on my end. Oh, and on behalf of Flayvaman, I'm sure he's going to thank Jukemon22 as well.
You bum, you ruined it. Anyway, I'll give a shout out firstly to Lazarus from Power Ranger Super Sentai GR. He helped me personally with ideas for the show and, you know, in ways of format. I will shout out to another Imagination Station. There's a guy called Brian behind that. He's subbing Go 5 at the moment, and you know, it's a series I'm really appreciative of him doing, because for so many years just no one would touch it.
Mm-hmm.
I will shout, there's so many Facebook groups, too many to mention, that I regularly contribute to and people engage with me. So all those people that I engage with, you know, I'm thinking off the top of my head, Michael, Mario, Chris, there's a few names I could just drop here. You know, you all give me banter and convo when Kamen Rider Bushido doesn't.
Thanks.
So thank you to all of you guys. I will also give a shout out to Will Shifter. He's both a reviewer and a subber. And I will say a massive thank you to my boy Tofan, who is my original Toku Bro. And, you know, I don't talk to him as much these days, but I'm always thinking of him. And finally, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to Jukemon22, whoever the hell you may be.
One more shout out for me, I would say, is I would like to also shout out to Lindsay Sterling and Taylor Davis as well. Lindsay Sterling was my first concert I went to, and believe it or not, I was in Australia, and I find her work also very inspirational as well, and also with this kind of style of different style of such, and I just want to thank them and do a nice shout out on that one. Otherwise, yeah, I will try my best for everyone who's watching this to try and add all the links to all the shout outs that I have just said. So please do not...
I quite remember people I just shouted out to be fair.
Oh well. Otherwise, yeah. In regards to a different question, I just got one, and that's being to try and be very not sly, if you will, with Captain America Civil War coming up next year. Sentai or Rider, whose side are you on?
Ouch. That's very difficult.
I'm good!
Rider.
Go on, answer it.
Rider.
Huh?
Rider.
Riders.
Rider.
Riders.
Riders.
Oh, interesting. So you're a solo boy.
Yeah.
Alright, that's interesting.
How about you?
I'm gonna actually have to agree with you on that one. I might actually go Rider. Just by a tad though. No. Maybe Sentai, because I like the teamwork.
Moron.
Fuck you.
Alright, so one more question for our Q&A. Final question. Do people want to do... what about us doing collabs with people?
Collab.
So I will say we have a very thorough process in how we do this show, and as well personally with me and Kamen Rider Bushido, we have like a massive time difference as it is. So even though we are not reluctant, we are also, we have lives outside of this show, LOL. And, we do appreciate the enthusiasm of our fans, all however many of you they are. I will say that, when it comes to things like changing the formats of the show, it's something that we always consider and discuss. But again, even with the current format of the show, a lot goes into it. We do discuss a lot. We prepare. We put a lot, even as busy as Kamen Rider Bushido is. And I've always said to him, like even in the last year that we've been recording this show, we have taken 2 hiatuses already. And so that's just how much difficulty we have, because it's not just one person recording as when he feels like it. We are literally revolving around.
We have to synchronize our times together for this.
It's insane, and and again, because in case people haven't figured it out, I'm from the UK and he's from Australia. So
correct that. Try to correct that. I am technically from London, but I've moved in anyway. I'm recording from Australia for the foreseeable future. But what Flayvaman is trying to say is, we cannot do this without your support. We are grateful for all your interest, enthusiasm, and especially your patience as well, especially with Flayvaman being an utter idiot and baby there. Right, exactly.
Right.
What I will say, or actually a question I did get was, what do we have, or what does the viewers have to look forward to in 2016?
Okay, well actually, that was actually going to be like my final topic for the year. So...
Okay, do you want to savour that then?
Right. Well, shall we just move on? Shall we just move away from the Q&A?
Well, that depends on if you want to, if you have any more cues.
Okay, so let's mix them both together then. So we're ending. We've got one more section after this, which isn't actually us blabbering too much.
Oh, but just before that, one more question. One ranger. Who?
Out of all of them.
Out of all the rangers, all
199 plus.
who is your favourite?
Geki.
Huh?
Geki.
No. One ranger.
Geki.
Oh, Dragon Ranger. Oh no,
No.
sorry. Tyranno Ranger. My bad. That was very.
How about you?
That was straight.
Yes.
Oh wow.
How about you?
Marvelous, Captain Marvelous.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Two very different reds, and they're red as well.
They are reds as well, but they're just so standouts for me, standout characters. But if it wasn't a red, if we had to avoid the reds, I would probably go for either Gokai Blue, because I love his story, I love his character, I love his...
As for non-red,
I know who you're going for straight off the bat.
there's over 199.
You're just gonna say Black Condor, because you always love fucking Black Condor.
No. I mean, I named one of my pool cues after Black Condor, but that's not the point. No, alright. I would say Boken Black.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I would not have guessed that. Alright. I'm glad I asked that.
There are similarities between Black Condor and Boken Black, to be fair.
Anywho.
Right, so we'll move on to the second to last topic, which is Toku for next year. Now, I already started one series from America, and this is Toku. It's called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Have you heard of this?
No.
Right, so basically what it is, in Japan, the writers of Ultraman wrote another Toku series which wasn't Ultraman but just resembles Ultraman, right? And basically some random TV company in America decided to Americanize it in the same way that Saban did PR. And basically I've only watched episode 1, and it's basically a bunch of kids, because this was like recommended to me on one of the FB groups on it. And, you know, it's basically these bunch of kids, they're just getting to grips with PC technology. And then this one kid comes across a virus who's like, I want to take over the telephones. And basically gets this kid to draw monsters for this virus. So this monster goes into like people's hardware, ripping their hard drives out and shit.
It almost sounds.
And then on the other end, his friend or rival friend or something, he gets sapped into his friend's PC and gets like a wristband attached to him, and he basically manages to hench shit and fight these monsters.
It almost sounds like a
hard drives. It's insane.
It almost sounds like a very Beetleborg Metallic style.
It's not too far off, but it does look insane.
Go on.
Yeah. Anyway, I've only watched one episode of it.
What I was gonna
possibly be watching this into next year.
What I was gonna ask was, so what else do the viewers have to look forward to in 2016? Besides our forthcoming FAIZ review.
And all the other reviews we've got lined up. I mean, again, I will be watching... I mean, you know, because again, I've only just finished watching Kakuranger, so I will be watching retro-wise O-Ranger to Go-Go 5, hopefully. And, you know, then after I've completed that would be my Sentai roundup.
What?
Kamen Rider, I definitely want to get Cougar and Agito nailed. And then maybe the first half of Neo Heisei, which I missed. Which is Decade, Double, O's, Fours.
What I would...
And then maybe every episode of PR.
Right.
How about you?
For me, what I was going to mention was the special reviews, which we have been talking about for quite some time, and it took quite a bit of convincing to Flayvaman. But no, the magical special.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing that in the second half of next year.
Yeah, but no, basically for the viewers, what I came up with, or what we eventually came up with, is a comparison episode, and that's, for instance, if there's like a magic themed one, so you take Magic Ranger and Wizard, and we'd compare in such. And
fairness, we have already done this between me and Kamen Bushido. We've already done this between ourselves enough times over the years, but we have yet to record such a dialogue. So in the second, and I think he's already spoiled it, but whatever. In the second half of next year, we will be recording these and letting you guys listen in.
And there will be other theme-based items to that, but that's a mere first glimpse as to what we will be doing.
And if anyone wants to suggest comparison episodes, I'm more than welcome to.
Just, type doobly doobie down below, like, comment, subscribe, you know to drop.
So, we are done for 2015, are we not?
Well, you tell me. You're the one that always wraps things up.
You can add bloopers onto the end of this episode, but I think from 2015, so I believe that Kamen Rider Bushido is going to be adding bloopers from 2014 and 2015, and I guess that's us for the year.
So I guess, in the words of the two Ronnies, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from him. In regards to for 2015 and from
who the two Ronnies are.
What?
I don't think anyone outside the UK is going to know who the two Ronnies are.
You just really buzzkilled that.
I don't know, because there's going to be like people in America. They're going to be like, who are they then?
Anywho. So from Flayvaman and myself, it's a very Merry Christmas and a very happy 2016 New Year for all of you.
That's how they say it in Japan.
Or in the Japanese actual way of saying Happy New Year, Akemashite omedetou gozaimasu. Just because I can. But anyway, as always, and for one last time in 2015, what I will say is I have been Master Rider Bushido. He's been my Toku Bros on the other side of it, that being Flayvaman! And for one last time this year, it's Physicam!
It's for the cam. Enjoy the bloopers.
You know when you're actually going to start it.
I already have.
Oh, you fucking douchebag.
I know you are, but what am I?
A fucking homo.
You're a homo. Is this how we're going to start every episode?
No, but it sounds awesome enough anyway. So from Australia we have Master Rider Bushido, and from UK we've got...
Geki Wolf. I'll go with Geki Wolf. Some hardcore.
What was your other username that you said you like?
I have like a million usernames. I have like...
Pick one!
Geki Wolf. I just did.
Something original.
Geki Kata? Geki...
Well, anyway,
Hold on, right. It's coming up to a minute. Hold on. How about...
I swear you had one.
I've got loads. Hold on, right. It's coming up to a minute. Hello, everyone on the internet, and welcome to... No. Oh, fuck it. Bloopers. Alright. Hello, everyone on the internet, and welcome to another episode... No, fuck.
No, bloopers.
It's not bloopers. That's too...
Bloopers.
Hello, everyone on the internet, and thanks for tuning in.
And welcome to another episode with me, Master Rider Bushido, and with the other guy behind the other cam is Flayvaman!
You do realise you've left out the name of the show, Toku Bros.
Who cares?
Hello, everyone on the internet, and thanks for tuning in.
And welcome to another episode with me, Master Bushido, and with my Toku Bro on the other side of that world.
Right, stop. You can't say another episode because this is the first episode. Fail.
Oh yeah, because it's Toku Talk, isn't it? I need to say it's Toku Talk.
No, you don't. You just have to say, alright, I'll say hello everyone on the internet, thanks for tuning in. Alright, I'm just going to bleep for this shit.
That's what I just said like 10 seconds ago.
When you start recording, if you do something like, you got to give me a sign so I know you've started recording, then I can... No, fuck off. No, like blink your eyes or something, and I'll say, hello everyone on the internet, you tart. No, just blink with both eyes, like that, what you just did, like that. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, but you know I blink a lot, like, well, I'm not calling myself a spaz. Anyway, hang on, 1 sec. Let's call it...
Yeah, sorry, I'll do.
Bellend.
You're brilliant. Right, and I will turn my volume down.
Why?
Because last time my ears were like... Good job, I'd already turned that down.
Oh yeah, Bellend.
Too slow, Ringo.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Well, I don't know whether to throw that burp in the blooper though.
Why was you recording?
Yeah, was I? Yeah, of course. Because it's me.
Right. Oh, that's what I've been doing in the evenings as well, by the way.
Chatting up chicks.
No, you're an idiot. I've been sat with like my parents watching Star Wars.
Not a word.
No, this is it, because I saw like the first 6 films like years ago,